Hey everyone, I'm Madalyn Sklar, host of the Social ROI Chat. I'm here with our CEO of ManageFlitter. Please welcome Kevin Garber. Hey Kevin.
Hey Madalyn, how are you doing? A special hello to you from Sydney, Australia, all the way to Houston.
Yeah, you guys are having the warm weather and we're getting something a little unusual. We're having snow today. And we don't get snow. It's our second time this winter. You know, we had the big hurricane over the summer, and it seems like every time we get a hurricane, we get snow the following winter. It's very bizarre.
It's what's so fascinating about the weather is it's such a complicated system. There's so many variables that we still haven't worked out how to predict it and understand it. And in fact, in Sydney, they seem to be getting worse at predicting the weather, which is interesting.
Oh, no.
It's reached a point where we don't even believe what they say about the next day. We've also been having unusual cool weather the last few days, and it's oscillating. So it's a wonderfully complex system, and it's sort of humbling that humans still haven't managed to understand how this thing called weather actually works.
Right. Well, you know, and it just really makes you wonder about the whole global warming thing, right? It's like, you know, something's definitely up when we're getting this kind of crazy weather all across the globe.
Absolutely. It would be interesting. It's certainly not our area, but interesting to chat to some environmental scientists or meteorologists to see what have trends been showing, etc. But anyway, that's a whole other area.
That's a whole other conversation, I know.
It's a whole other Twitter chat. I'm sure there's a weather chat, hashtag weather chat, or hashtag
probably
climate change.
Is. I bet there is, with all the crazy weather going on. I'm sure there's probably several of them. Well, we had a great social ROI chat. We just finished it just moments ago. We had a really great guest today. Her name is Nichole Elizabeth DeMere. She was incredible. What'd you think of her?
Fantastic. I mean, I'm always inspired when people are incredibly succinct and tight in their answers. It's something that is so difficult to do. When people express something, saying what we want to say, but in a whole, much more effective way. So I love succinct writers, and she's definitely one of those. There's not really a superfluous word in what she says, and that's exactly the type of writing that I like and inspires me.
Yeah, it was really good. Unfortunately, she couldn't join us for the live stream. The topic we had today was community building for brands, why it's important and how to do it. But what I'd like to do, since it's just you and us, Kevin, is, you know, we always kick off the chat with a question for you, for the CEO. And our question was related to this topic. How has ManageFlitter nurtured and grown its online community? And I would love for you to talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind sharing.
Sure. So, ManageFlitter, as I've mentioned many times before, was a prototype and a side project that grew out of control. We had accidental success with it. And in the early days, when it was just a couple of us working on the project, and we were very much pushed by the community because they loved what we were offering, and it was very it was easy those days in a sense because the scope of the product, the scope of the company was a lot smaller. That we were engaging constantly on a day-to-day basis on Twitter, on email, on blog posts, on webinars. With our community, and it was definitely one of my most fun parts of building the product because we were so close to the people that not only were using it, they were started using the product in ways we didn't even predict. So it was incredibly interesting and exciting to be part of the community. They also understood the industry and what was going on more than us. We were technologists, we were product people, we weren't really social media people or growth hackers or influencers. So those early days were terrific. As we grew, things like the weather system, as you add variables and complexity, it becomes a lot harder. And over time, we became, we had to put in processes and customer support, and Twitter became a different animal, and we became a little bit more removed from our users. And as I mentioned, over the last year, we're trying to reestablish dialogue and create a bit of team bandwidth to spend on the community, on getting back close to our users, to the people in the industry, and to the people using our product.
So how are you engaging with your community with ManageFlitter?
Well, currently, I mean, the social ROI chat is obviously one of the big initiatives that we launched over the last year. And that's been fantastic to really just dive back into the industry, that's which is the social media community, and just to get a sense of what the community is about. We've got other ideas for initiatives, whether it's closed Facebook groups or Slack channels. I spent a couple of years ago traveling around the US and chatting to our users, and I'm trying to create more bandwidth in my personal life to create that dialogue again. So basically also just communicating with the team, and it's even the word that I use internally, dialogue with our users. And the support team led by Joe is very much brief that when people write into us, even with a technical support issue, feedback, anything else that's going on in that ticket, a compliment around the product, some other issues they're having with the product. So not just treat it as a ticketing support ticket system. Of course, we also monitor our tweets and our mentions across the web as well to see what people are blogging and saying about us, and we respond. Our guest today said that creating a community is really indicating to your users that you are customer centric, and we really want to be customer centric. A, it's good for business, and we all in business. And B, I mean, social media is about social and media. It lends it very well to the industry. And as I mentioned in one of my tweets as well, I think humans are wired for community. We're wired for connection. People are going to be much more comfortable spending money with a company where there is the right type of community feel around it.
Right. And I think that this Twitter chat is a great way to connect people together in the community. You mentioned during the chat that at some point you might want to create a Facebook group or a Slack channel. Can you talk a little bit about that? I thought that sounded really interesting.
Sure. Well, I mean, a lot of our users are real social media experts. A lot of them have done amazing things in social media, even people like Evan Dunn, which I've mentioned a few times. He was an early ManageFlitter user, and he did such amazing things with Twitter and ManageFlitter with his clients. So to have all of those people in a room together, sharing tips, tricks, war stories, and as well centered or having our product as part of their piece. It's not like they won't be able to talk about other products, or they won't be able to even be critical of certain aspects of our product. But to create a forum, social, as you know, Madalyn, I mean, it moves at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Every day, Facebook's tweet something, Instagram's changed something. I've spent the last week fiddling with, Instagram stories and Snapchats and Facebook stories and it's moved so much since I last dug into it, that to have a space where we can, and information share, things move so quickly. I'm sure there are some communities forums out there already. I'm not particularly familiar with them. I'm sure there's room for another one that has, the right team members in it. Our struggle always on our end is the human bandwidth side of things. We are a bootstrapped company, and we've got to choose and where we devote our resources, and we've got to grow accordingly. We can't over-invest in something until we get returns from it. But it is something that I've had on my mind for a while. We have created a Facebook group for Managed Social Alpha users, which Managed Social is our new product, which includes Instagram functionality. And that will be a bit of a test case. And we may even flip that into the transition that into the social media group. But people want places where they can share information with other smart people that know what's happening in the industry.
Absolutely. And I think a Facebook group or a Slack channel is so perfect for that. This has been great, just having a little bit of a dialogue, exploring further what we had talked about when we asked you the question early on in the chat. Looks like we got a comment that just popped in from Warfare Plugins. We're trying to build our community and are trying to figure out what is the best way to really get it started. Would you recommend starting with a Twitter chat or a Facebook group or something else? We have 40,000 plus downloads on our social sharing plugins, but we don't really have any type of community per se. That is an excellent question. I'm a big fan of Facebook groups, but I tell you what, Kevin, after Facebook's big announcement last week with all of these big changes going on that really affects pages, I think, more than groups, I'm still a little nervous about, I thought about starting a new Facebook group, but I don't know. I'm a little nervous. What are your thoughts about this?
Look, Facebook, I mean, any social platform, you know, at the end of the day, they're private companies and in the interest of building out product for their shareholders. That's why a lot of people are pushing to build your own email list, because then, you know, it's something independent of the products. I think to get too worried about the direction that these products are going to take, who knows? To be honest, they don't even know the direction that they're going to take most of the time, a year out. Yeah. You know, there's no big, great conspiracy, I believe. I have to say I'm a fan of the Twitter chat as much. I like Facebook groups as well. The Twitter chat, especially if you discipline it weekly and you have the resources to do it weekly, what it does is it forces you to really give it a hard push once a week. Right, so once a week for an hour, you give it a hard push and you create this sort of buzz and you create a little bit of momentum. That is a little bit easier in a sense in a Facebook group that, you know, maybe if you've got 40,000 people already and you can push that into a Facebook group, that might get some great traction. Of course, to do them both really makes sense as well. If you've got the bandwidth to have a Twitter chat and then you've got a Facebook group as well. You know, I don't think there's a simple answer to that. I think if people are talking a lot on Twitter around your topic and are there in any case, a Twitter chat might be good. I think Twitter chats are still quite an underutilized tool. I'm talking to my friends who work in the enterprise space, and they know nothing about Twitter chats. And I'm like, oh, you guys are experts at HR systems, do an HR chat, you know. I still like Twitter chats, but I'm a huge Twitter fan. I wouldn't be too worried about the platform changes, Madalyn. It's just, if we would worry about where the platforms are going, it's too much. There are too many variables. We just got to keep going and doing what's right for the next 6 months, and we'll deal with it from there out.
Yeah, good point. And I do want to mention Warfare Plugins, and I know they were here on our chat last week. That is Dustin Stout, who is going to be our guest next week. Next month in February. He's going to be our guest on February 13th. So we're really excited about having him. And Kevin, he's been doing an amazing job with his very popular WordPress plugin for sharing social media. It's super cool. I'll have to show you that. If there are any questions from those watching live, we would love to take your questions, but I think this is just a great topic, just digging in, going in a little bit further, talking about community building, how you've been doing this for ManageFlitter, and I'm really excited about the things you have moving forward, Kevin. Can't wait to see all the new things, and I think expanding your Facebook group like you were talking about is a great idea, and having more people come into it after you use it for the alpha group.
Yeah, and I think that's what the gift of social has given us. It's allowed us to use these tools to create community around these products. And I believe even if you've got a quote unquote boring product or a boring in not a sexy industry, you can definitely build some sort of community around it. And I think I also like the question of the real world. How do you transition the community into the real world? I think it's a very important point, because people actually do get a bit fatigued of the online Twitter, social, Facebook world as well. We've done some great meetups in New York when we were there, and it's just don't underestimate the power of physical community. And I think people are actually craving that more than ever. Hence the rise of the co-work spaces and things like South by Southwest, and so it'd be quite easy to build a community. To, even if you've got the capacity, have a weekly speaker and pizzas and beers over time, almost like a live Twitter chat. Very powerful, not that difficult to organize, but again, just put some intent and thought behind it. And especially if you're in a big city, there's enough people, and you can really get some terrific traction out of that, and even make money out of that. You can get sponsors for things like that.
Yeah, sounds fantastic. This has been great, Kevin. Thank you so much for coming on here and spending a little time with me talking about all of this. Always a fun time. And big congratulations on the 1 year that we celebrated last week. I think it's just incredibly awesome that we did 1 full year of social ROI chat. And I love where we're at today. We've really built a great, vibrant community. So thank you for your part in all of that.
Thanks, Madalyn. Yeah, and also thanks for being a champion of Twitter chats and social ROI chat, and all some of your great initiatives that you've put forward to us. And also just a quick mention that we do have the social ROI book coming out over the next week, which is going to be in ebook format, which is basically going to be a summary. A few months ago, I was looking at some of these social ROI recaps, and it's just sitting on gold there, all these smart people and their amazing insights, and even the guests and the general participants. And I thought it would be great if we could have that all compiled in one format, and that's where the idea of the social ROI book was formed. And I'd even like to get a hard copy version of it so that people can buy a few copies, distribute around the office, browse it whilst they're having a coffee. So keep an eye out for the social ROI book. I know Kate and her team have been working quite hard at getting the format and design and all of that right. So we hope that's useful to you as well. And thanks for everything. And we'll see everyone next week, same place, same time, on the Twitter chat. And you can follow me on Twitter, KE_GA, and Instagram, and drop me a note if can help you with anything. Happy to be of use.
Thanks, Kevin. And thanks for sharing about the book. I'm really excited about that coming out. Is there a date a due date on that, or the release date?
Soon. The ebook version is going to be hopefully within the next week or so. So and we're going to try and publish these regularly as we collect the different each half year or so. And there really is a lot of fantastic information there, everything from AdWords to SEO to all sorts of bits and pieces. And it's so difficult to get your head around all these topics that this is a great primer and really just can help you understand a lot of these different pieces that make up the whole online marketing landscape. So yeah, within a week or so, hopefully, watch out on the ManageFlitter Twitter timeline, ManageFlitter blog, my personal account, Kate's account, and yeah, we'll push it. We'll mention it in the next week's Twitter chat. Hopefully it might even be ready by then.
I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Kevin. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Look forward to seeing you here. And if you don't mind, we would love for you to share this. You should see a share button right below Kevin and I. If you would click on that and share this out to your community, this helps spread the word of our awesome chat and this after chat. So thank you so much. We'll be back next week. See you then.
Thanks. Bye-bye.